Today, as I understand it, is the Buddha's birthday. So I have us a Buddhist reflection to start. A lot of you know Aya Sudhama, who is a Buddhist monk here in town. She's often a part of MechMin events. And she wrote a reflection this week about Buddhism and the COVID-19 outbreak. And I thought it was really powerful. She says, the Buddha's frequent advice, in brief, quote, do no evil, undertake what is good, and purify the mind, unquote, becomes more clearly relevant. Though it applies well to all circumstances, the accessibility of this brief advice during times of stress and its promise of empowerment and healing, even joy, make it resonate more. Do no evil, undertake what is good, and purify the mind.
So MeckMIN is the Mecklenburg Metropolitan Interfaith Network, and that was actually recently the name change happened because of the concern of a Christocentric kind of model, because it started that way in the 80s. So over the years, obviously very shortly after that, the Jewish community got involved, the Muslim community, the Hindu community, the Baha'i, and the various other Buddhist and others, Sikh and so forth, got involved. It is the interfaith intersectional network in Charlotte, in the Mecklenburg area, that calls people to come together and do the things that represent good morality and good citizenship, and to get to understand each other and to appreciate differences and to celebrate commonality.
The thing that I really have loved ever since Ladaine has become the executive director is this really idea of coming together and doing good together. And then COVID hit, and Ladaine, who is relatively new as the executive director, she just sent out this email and said, we're going to meet, over Zoom. If you're a faith leader or a nonprofit, come join us. And I've been on probably every call, so that's maybe about one.
So MechMin has been holding these weekly meetings to gather, to kind of put nonprofit leaders in relationship with faith communities. In Yiddish, the word is to make a Shidduch. It's like matchmaking. And I feel like that's what these meetings have been, is like these beautiful matchmaking sessions where this nonprofit organization will be like, oh my God, we need diapers. Like, we can't get diapers. There's no diapers anywhere and they're so expensive. And you have like 4 faith institutions that are like, we're on it, diapers. And then the next week we'll be on the call and that nonprofit organization will be like, stop with the diapers. We have enough diapers, right? But we need peanut butter. And so we have 2 lay leaders, 2 people at Temple Bethel who trade off in sitting in on those meetings to get a sense of what's needed in the wider community, and then how Temple Bethel or Temple Bethel congregants might help out.
COVID has forced us to really kind of think outside of the box, to continually be innovative around ways to continue our mission. We had established a shower ministry shortly after my arrival to address the needs of our displaced brothers and sisters. We knew we couldn't be everything to everyone, but we felt we could provide a need. And one of the things we recognized early on, based on our engagement of the number of brothers and sisters we would have knock on our doors in need of baths, we felt a call to put a ministry in place. We've always had outreach annually in regards to meeting basic needs, whether that be undergarments, coats, clothing, food, breakfasts. All of those things were a normal part of our life. COVID hit, and all of that was kind of shut. And being thrust into the COVID situation, particularly with a demographic in my church that is a majority elderly persons who are high risk, partnerships are really the way we've been kind of stretching ourselves to find ways to continue to engage in the work, to carry on our mission, but really leaning on those other organizations that have the resources, and have people who aren't as at a greater risk as our membership would be, to kind of carry out that work. And so that's been a true blessing for us.
As this was just getting underway in early March, the COVID, and we started realizing more and more the impact that was going to be having and what it was going to be doing, not only to our city, but the most vulnerable among us. I emailed Ladaine and just said, can you call us together? Can you convene a meeting? And that was on March 10th, and she said that she thought she could in 8 days. There'd be a regular meeting of MechMin on Thursday, and maybe we could just pull some folks together after that. And that's when I said, I don't think we can wait till Thursday. For 8 days, we have to be planning this last week at this point. So in 2 days, we gathered at Park Road Baptist to brainstorm what needed to be done and who could do what and how we might face this challenge together. We agreed that a weekly call would be a wonderful thing, just for people to gather together on a Zoom or whatever platform, and it turned out to be a Zoom, to exchange both those people who had resources and those people who had needs. But we had no idea that this would be going on for months and months and months.
Tina, do you want to bring us a Loaves and Fishes update?
Sure, I'm happy to. So last week we had a huge week. We served over 3,700 individuals through our 20 different mobile locations. We have thousands of spots still open at our different mobile pantry locations. So looking at our April numbers for April 2020, Loaves and Fishes provided a week's worth of groceries to 15,535 individuals. Last April, April 2019, we served 4,561 individuals. So going from 4,500 to over 15,000, that's a 240% increase month over month when you compare the two different years. So yeah, demand is at an all-time high right now, but we do have food. So when someone shows up, they're getting milk, apples, oranges, melons, sometimes fresh meat, you name it, a variety of things on top of the non-perishable food box.
We also decided to restart our Loaves and Fishes ministry. That was a way we could continue to do ministry and not put people at risk. And so that is a partnership that we revamped this summer. We did a food drive that was very successful. It allowed our congregation, our older members, to come by the church, in their masks, pull up to the church in their vehicles, and provide donations that we collected on site and distributed to Loaves and Fishes.
What I see week after week is people of all faiths being willing to, if they're taking risks, it's to feed the hungry and house the homeless. In Christian terms, we always talk about church. Church is not a place you go. Church is a way you live in the world. And this has been a time when we're really living that out, where because we're not going, but we are finding a multitude of ways to be active in the world.
Many of our pantries are actually housed inside of churches. So right now, because of COVID, all of our brick and mortar locations are closed, but we're doing mobile pantries out of the parking lots of those same locations. So many of our mobile pantries are in church parking lots, and the mobiles are run by church volunteers. So we're very grateful for, the Mecklenburg ministries. They help us recruit volunteers, they do food drives for us, and they just, connect us to donors who help us raise dollars to, keep the lights on and to feed people.
So why don't we just go back to the religion and the scriptures, whether it be the Quran or the Bible or other scriptures, and see where you'll find this huge flowing connectivity of the golden rules, for example, as a core theme. That loving God and being a spiritual person means to care about other people and to try to serve their best interests, and to use my time and my skills and my wealth to help people, to help society.
And so Sikhism started with a very simple message that God is one. And if you look at the Sikh scriptures, the very first word is Ek Onkar, which means Ek means one. Onkar is a representation of the God, which means God is one. It's in you, it's in me, it's in everything we see. So equality is the cornerstone of the religion. It does not matter whether you call yourself Muslim or Christian or Hindu or Buddhist. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you call God as Jesus or God or Allah or Ram. There are as many names as religions, as people with languages, but it's one God.
I mean, when it comes right down to it, every single one of us is a child of God, whether we're Christian or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist. God made us all in God's image. And I think when we fail to recognize that, we're doing God a huge disservice. But when we find ways to collaborate and work together and recognize our shared humanity, That's what we're supposed to be doing on this earth.
Being a Sikh, community service is a key part. One of the core fundamentals of Sikhism is to donate 10% of your time, 10% of your intellectual capital, 10% of your money. This pandemic taught us that if you are active within the nonprofit circle, you almost certainly know what's the best way to provide the best help.
We believe the Bible. We also study a book of scripture called the Book of Mormon. And there's this section that talks about how the people, when they were righteous, they realized that how important it was to take care of all the naked and the sick and the hungry, and that that was the way you show your love to God. So since I work over 8 congregations, I said to all the leaders of our congregation that for this month of June, I want you to pick an organization where you're really going to focus on helping the naked and the poor and the hungry. And because I'd been attending these weekly meetings, I could share with them all these different organizations that were available that already had things in place that they could support.
Sonia, do you want to bring us an update on the work you're doing?
Hi, sure. Thank you, Ladaine. Good morning, everyone. Our organization, Lionel Lee Jr. Center for Wellness, we're primarily serving people who are uninsured and underinsured as far as their healthcare needs are concerned. And we have had to pivot as well for services and supplies for our clients.
I'm Sonia Lee, and I am the founder and executive director of the Lionel Lee Jr. Center for Wellness. My brother Lionel suffered a heart condition and checked into his healthcare facility, and they looked him over and sent him home. On his way home, the pain worsened, and he turned around, parked in the facility parking lot, and never made it back inside. So I needed somewhere to put that grief, and the year after that incident, I formed a wellness center in order to, of course, honor his memory, but more to serve the community that is uninsured and underinsured in obtaining much-needed medications. We also do education and workshops in the community that promote overall health and wellness. Our focus has been primarily the African American community and the LGBTQ community. I am an out lesbian, so just, I don't know if that matters, but that's who I am. And our board are members of the LGBTQ community as well.
So over the past couple of weeks, I want to thank this group. I want to mention by name Elena Sepulveda, that made a significant contribution to help us get the items that we need. So I thank her and the Caldwell family. Thank you, Ladaine, for the reference to First United Presbyterian Church. I went there and picked up toilet paper. That's really been a big help. We have also applied for funding from 2 organizations that you sent over as referral, and we're still waiting to hear from them. Of course, we're one of those small organizations that don't get, that don't usually get funded, right? We don't usually get the attention, but we are on the ground doing the work.
I'm always looking for grant opportunities for MechMin. Pretty much every week I come across something that's like, this isn't a good fit for MechMin, but hey, Deborah Woolard at Block Love could use this. Pretty much every week I'm sending somebody information about a grant. It's like, you should look into this. This might really work well for you.
Ladaine sent over a link with 2 funding opportunities, and one of them suited our purpose it was almost a perfect fit. We were awarded a mini grant in the amount of $2,000, and which is significant for an organization like mine. And it was bigger than the money. It allowed us to amplify our voice and connect with another organization that is doing grassroots level work as well.
I would never have been able to do that before because I didn't know. I didn't even know that some of these groups existed, much less have a pretty good idea in my head about what their mission is and how they're living it out and what dreams they have for the future.
My name is Deborah Woolard. I'm the founder of Block Love Charlotte, where we are in this city, in the city of Charlotte, where we try to assist those that are experiencing homelessness and we really focus on those that are affected by domestic violence, domestic abuse, that have found themselves homeless, as well as single fathers that have their children with them that have found themselves homeless.
So Block Love continues to need sleeping bags, tents. I can't remember what you call it, but like the wooden pallets that you can put a tent on so it's not directly on the ground. And if you have any of those things, I can connect you to Deborah Willard at Block Love.
An individual had reached out to me from that interfaith-based community, and that's how I learned about MeckMIN. They just refer like resources to us, or if someone says, hey, I have these particular donations that I believe you all could use. Like we've received tents, canopies, camping gear. I just had a guy this week says he's got some more tents. I believe he's going to come and deliver those tonight. So it really helped get our message of what our needs were and to be able to get those needs met. So that's been amazing. So just being able to just let everyone know what we're doing so that the faith-based community could back us in any way possible. It's really been a really good relationship.
I mean, as a Jewish organization, interfaith work will always be monumentally important for us. We are a small community in a sea of Baptists and Methodists and Presbyterians and, right? I really believe that each of our faith traditions are richer from interaction with people from other faiths, and that we actually develop better understandings of our own faith and the ability to like really interact with and engage with and develop relationships with and partner with other people when we get to know other people. That is what MechMin is all about, is like MechMin is this bridge between all these different communities, both faith-based communities and nonprofit communities. And I think that the pandemic has, in the way that the pandemic has taught us things we already know, but really heightened them and made them more and more clear, like we are all in this together. And the way that we work with each other to change the parts of our society that are broken is the way that we all make it to a better and more just and more whole and more healthy society. That really takes somebody to like develop those connections. So it takes both the connector, right? So like I see MeckMIN is like doing this part, but it also takes like this person and this person to say like, I want to connect. I'm committed to making this connection, right? And then when this person and this person then can say like, thank you, MeckMIN, right? Like that's when we build those ties. And it's those ties that enable us to do the work, because we're all in it together, but we're also all stronger together.
Good morning, brothers and sisters in service. It is a blessing to be in your presence, and I hope that you will join me in prayer. Dearest God, nurturing, loving, caring force that has surrounded us with your gracious concern and care and your loving touch, we ask you to give us the means to put an energy of spiritual truth into our work, and that we are working for your service, and that we are living for your gratitude and thanks and glorification of your many blessings that you have given us. We ask you to empower us to do work that serves those that are in need among us, that we may be able to stand with the children as they go back to school, that we may be able to stand with those that are struggling with homelessness and poverty and hunger, and that we may be a means of lifting them up and giving them peace and comfort and helping them to live to their potential. We ask you this in all of the names that we call upon you by. Amen.